Hey everyone, Commissioner Eccles here for our Thursday morning community focus. We're always all over our state, and I think we're going to go somewhere today that most of you have never been, right, Faith?
That's right.
Faith, have you ever been to Fitzgerald, Georgia?
I missed my opportunity to go to Fitzgerald because I had a car accident. We were supposed to go down there together last January, and I got hit 2 days before that. So I missed my opportunity. I'll have to make another trip down.
Yeah, I've been to Fitzgerald a number of times. Obviously, a state official tries to go everywhere, but when my daughter was in the state championship in Albany in the state track championship, we couldn't get a hotel room over in Albany, so we stayed at a quail plantation over in Fitzgerald. Southern Pines, I believe, is the name of it. But let's say hello to our guest today, the guy that brought me to Fitzgerald for that human trafficking awareness event, Jeff Palmer. Jeff, good to have you on today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And we got Chief Smallwood, the chief of the police department. I hope there's no crimes being committed while we got you on this call, Chief.
I hope not too, Commissioner. Glad to be
here. Yeah. Our clean energy segment today, we'll have Jim Sellers. Jim, good to have you on today.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and we'll drop everybody to the green room except the mayor, Mayor Jim Puckett. Mayor, I think about how cities try to gain notoriety, and Helen, Georgia, comes to mind when the Georgia Mountain Fair was in full swing up in Hiwassee. People were driving through Helen. This is before Helen became an Alpine village, and city leaders of Helen said, "How can we get them to stop here?" And so they transformed themselves into a German Alpine village, and the rest is history. And now it's a destination. In fact, I went on my honeymoon in Helen. I mean, that's how much of a destination it is. And I stayed at the Hellendorf Inn on the river. I mean, so, Mayor, you guys have a unique history down there of having Burmese chickens free range your entire city. And this is something I think people are going to be stunned about. How did this happen?
So it's funny that you mentioned Helen, Georgia, because that was one of the case studies we did when we started to build our big chicken, was looking at what was Helen before, and because it was just an old mill town. And what they did and how they did it and the backlash they got from the townspeople. So that was a big part of our research. And so what we did was we have wild Burmese chickens running all over our town, have for several decades. And you either love them or you hate them. They're beautiful. We have a city ordinance that protects them. But as I told Faith, I think yesterday, there's a tree right beside my mama's house, and sometimes they get up in that tree, and at 4:30 in the morning, you don't like those chickens very much. But inevitably, when we bring people to Fitzgerald to look at industry or delegations for whatever reason, one of the first things they ask us is, can we go see the wild chickens? And so we have areas that we know they're populated, and we take them. But I decided one day we were going to build a big chicken to bring them here. And so after a lot of research, and we decided the first order of business, I told my deputy administrators, find out how big the big chicken is in Marietta, and let's build ours 2 feet bigger. That's a true story. And so we found 56 feet. We were going to go 58 feet. So we find Topiary Joe. Look it up, www.topiaryjoe.com. He builds topiaries all over the world for Disney, for corporate America, for Steven Spielberg, these beautiful topiaries. Topiary is a statue with live plant material on it. So he comes in my office. He said, Mayor, we can build a 58-foot topiary chicken. He said, but the largest topiary in the world is in Dubai, and it's 59.5 feet. If you go 4 more feet, you'll not only have the state's largest chicken topiary, you'll have the world's largest chicken topiary. So if anybody that knows me knows that we go big or go home. And so we said, let's do it. So we are in the midst of building the world's largest chicken topiary that will also have an Airbnb in it that you can rent out and stay, fix your wedding. And I've actually had people call and want to book their wedding to stay in the chicken.
That's fantastic.
Wow. So, Mayor, on a topiary, these are live plants that you've got to water and fertilize, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And
So,
and we,
do you guys have anybody on staff that knows how to do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our public works department just loves me right now. And so it's nice to get to but no, we have and I can't explain the details, but there are water tanks that'll be all inside of that thing. And the water tanks, well, there'll be an irrigation system that takes care of the majority of that. We're partnering with a local company here, the Rayner Company. They do something that's called aquaponics, and it is too much time for me to explain that. But it's going to be pretty cool how we end up taking care of that topiary.
Wow. So, Mayor, behind you on your little bookshelf, are those chickens up there?
Hey, Commissioner, I have chickens all over my.
Can you pull one down and let me look at it a little closer? Okay. So get it in the middle of the screen. So a Burmese chicken. What's unique about a Burmese chicken over against, say, the little white chicken that I would see in a poultry farm?
Well, I can't give you a scientific answer. The layman's answer is they're very colorful. The chickens that you see around our town and are very, very colorful. The tail feathers. Now, this is one.
Hold it up a little higher. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there we go. And so this is one. Ours are definitely not this bright, but they are a lot of them that are very, very bright. Since this chicken, we first started building it. The Wall Street Journal did a front page article on Fitzgerald, Georgia, and us building our chicken, that gave us a lot of notoriety. So since then, I get a lot of chickens, and so this is one of the ones that was sent to me. But ours are definitely not this colorful. But we have some that are just absolutely beautiful, and the Burmese chickens tend to have much more colorful foliage, if you will, than your regular average meal chicken that you see on a farm. That's my layman's.
So,
answer.
I recently wrote an article with Ritesh Desai, a Hindu. It was about supporting Israel. I won't go into that, but if you go to India, their cows are wandering around, on the road, and it sounds like you guys just have chickens that kind of run the place down there.
Well, and somebody said to me yesterday that before we started building the big chicken, that they kind of didn't see as many as they used to, but now all of a sudden they say they're back, and that's what we want. I mean, we want. I've got to have a reason for building a 62-foot, 19-ton steel chicken.
So, Mayor, the other day I was on Jekyll with some guests, and we went out on the wharf, and Captain Phillip runs the dolphin boat there, and so for $25 they take you out and you get to see dolphins. And sure enough, they took us just out the Jekyll River, kind of towards Cumberland, and they stopped, and there were all these dolphins. So do you anticipate, once we get this 62-foot chicken built, that there will be kind of entrepreneurs that take people out so that they can see these chickens?
Chicken tours.
Chicken tours.
Yeah, I mean, and what's neat is where we're building the chicken is actually right across from my Cultural Arts and Tourism Department. So exactly, I tell people all the time, I didn't build this chicken for the people in Fitzgerald. I built this chicken for people to get off I-75 and drive 20 minutes to Fitzgerald, Georgia to see it. And it's already happening, and the thing's not built yet. So sure, I mean that's the whole goal. I mean, I told somebody, we were at a GMA conference about 2.5 years ago, and I was in a room of about 100 people. And you go around, you introduce yourself, and I said, I'm Mayor Jim Puckett, the proud mayor of Fitzgerald, Georgia. And if you don't know where Fitzgerald, Georgia is, I promise you will know soon. The day our story hit the Wall Street Journal, Governor Kemp texted me, and he said, Mayor, you're going to be famous. And I said, Governor, I have no desire to be famous. I want Fitzgerald, Georgia to be famous.
Wow. Well, let's bring the police chief into this, Chief Smallwood. Chief, have you thought about how your job is going to change as you have all of these Yankees coming through your town, wanting to look at these chickens, breaking into stuff, rummaging behind this and that, trespassing into people's yards. How is this going to affect crime in Fitzgerald?
Well, I hope it don't, Commissioner. I hope we have what just the mayor expects. We have tourists that come in that want to see our town, not only the chicken or the chickens, but we have a beautiful town that, we're proud to show off. And I hope they're there just to do that. There's no doubt we will have some that want to come in and do some vandalism or whatever, but we'll handle that in the way we handle all crimes.
So, Chief, I don't want to out you on this, but have you ever had a Burmese chicken sandwich down there? I mean, would that be sacrilegious to do?
I have to say, like the mayor said about the egg, if I had, I didn't know about it. But I have plenty of chicken sandwiches here, but I can't guarantee it was a Burmese or not a Burmese chicken.
Faith, I'm thinking, I guess that would be kind of like the cruel joke I was making the other day on the dolphin boat about eating mahi-mahi. I mean, it's just not appropriate, right? At the time, really.
Most assuredly not.
Yeah.
I disagree. I own a diner here in Fitzgerald, and we are currently, where my son and I are currently working. If we're going to have the world's biggest chicken, we've got to have the world's biggest chicken sandwich at my diner. So,
oh my!
It's not going to be a Burmese.
Man, Dan Cathy, Chick-fil-A. Do you see what he's doing there? Wow. Hey, let's drop the mayor into the chicken room, the green room, and let me talk to the chief for a second. Chief, we'll get you to move over slightly to the right there in our screen. Chief, I've had a lot of kids that worked in police departments. Faith's husband was a police officer. I've had 4 that has worked for UGA Police. I've got one in the Justice Department, one that's a sheriff deputy. And now I am seeing I'm seeing a lot of cities, big cities, totally regret downsizing their police department, defunding their police department, belittling their police department. I mean, public safety is probably the most important job of government, don't you think?
Most definitely. If we don't have the police or public safety, we can see it now in the larger cities, like you say, just the cuts that they have, and not only the cuts, but the number of officers that are leaving the profession, the number of officers retiring early. These cities are being devastated, and it's just a shame. We have a tough job to do. There's no doubt. I've been here with the city of Fitzgerald for 41 years now in the police department, and from when I started to what it is now, it's just about a 180 as far as officers, what they see and the respect they get.
Wow. Chief, if you had to say what one single crime was the most common thing in Fitzgerald that you've made the most arrests for over your 41 years, is there a particular thing or two that tends to come up over and over again?
Probably family violence. We have quite a few family violence cases and all. Would be the number one. We do have a lot of drug cases also, but family violence would have to be the top one.
And that's everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, it's tragic that it happens. And is that, do you find that there's alcohol involved with that, drugs involved? Is it just anger? What is it?
The majority of the time you are going to find some type of alcohol or drug influence. And then, you do have just the anger sometimes that, most of the time they don't end up in a full-fledged fight. If it's just an anger issue, it's more when they're drug or alcohol-induced problems.
Wow. Well, Chief, I guess back in January 2020, right before the pandemic, Sheriff Lee Cohn and Jeff Palmer, who we'll have on in a minute in our Good Citizen segment, and yourself brought brought my team, led by Faith, the GBI, and a lot of our nonprofit speakers into Fitzgerald to do a human trafficking seminar. What was the community reaction to that seminar?
It was very positive. We know what happens, and the more we talk about it, the more we see that it's happening. And I think it was very positive for our community.
Well, Chief, thank you for your service. I really appreciate all that you're doing. And Jeff, I know in your ministry, you pray for the chief, you pray for the other officers, you minister to them when there's a difficult time. I mean, how cool is it to have someone that's been serving 41 years?
It is amazing. Chief Smallwood does a tremendous job in our department. It's been my privilege to get to know him and to serve him and his staff on basically a weekly basis, and not because of any particular issue, but to be there to talk with them. And I just consider it a privilege to serve as a chaplain for the police department and for the city of Fitzgerald at large. I'm privileged to serve in that role here in our community.
Well, Chief, thank you for your service and all that you do. You stay safe out there.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Chief.
Well, Jeff, you're our good citizen in this segment, and as we focus on Fitzgerald. So I want to just publicly thank you for bringing our team down there. Jeff, why did you want us to bring human trafficking awareness to the little town of Fitzgerald?
Well, Commissioner, I want to thank you for your attention to the issue of human trafficking. I was privileged to be a part of one of your unholy tours that took place in Gwinnett County. Got to ride the bus, kind of see some of those things, and really see it being brought to light and a heightened awareness of it, and then recognizing that human trafficking is not just a large city issue. As you are aware that issues and incidents of human trafficking have happened all across our state in large communities, mid-sized communities, and small communities. And so it was my desire to bring together a group, not just in law enforcement, but from the medical community. We had representatives from our school system. We had representatives from the faith community, all together to bring an understanding and an introduction, in some cases, and awareness of the issue of human trafficking, because from an educational standpoint, teachers or counselors may see that. It may be seen as in the medical community or in the law enforcement community. So we wanted to bring people together to allow that issue to be brought to the forefront, to give them some information. And so it was really just kind of an introductory type time. And I've was very pleased by the very positive response that we received from our community and the great participation that we had. And so again, I want to thank you and your team and Faith and all the work that you did. It was it turned out to be a very great event, and so I'm thankful for your participation and really doing all the hard work to make it happen.
I know the First Lady, Marty Kemp, is really focusing on this, our GBI director, the governor, the attorney general. There's a lot of hands working on this, but having a difficult time staying ahead of these traffickers because they didn't really take a break during the pandemic. I mean, they continue to basically exploit and ruin the lives of women and girls, across the state. And to me, there's not a harsh enough punishment because they are destroying the lives of these children, aren't they?
Absolutely. And that was early on in the pandemic, that very issue, that because particularly children were not in school where they may have additional set of eyes that could recognize if something was going on, that actually got removed. And so you had children that were at home and they were there was really not that attentiveness to that issue. And I do believe, as you are aware, that human traffickers took advantage of that. And so we have to keep this in the forefront. The issue has not gone away. As one of your, I know Commissioner Eck was one of your heroes, William Wilberforce, once said when he was addressing the issue of slavery in the United Kingdom, in Great Britain, he made sure that he said, listen, we can't say we don't know about the issue, but what we have to then decide is what will we do about it. And so this is, and just like Wilberforce, and you, as you're aware, you know the story. It was his relationship with John Newton, the famed hymn writer of Amazing Grace, that really spurred him on. So both the faith community, and government can work together in addressing the issue of human trafficking. It's not an either or. I think we both can come together, and so we have to do that.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you for being our good citizen today. For I know you do it out of your service to the Lord and to your community, and I know that the mayor and the chief and everyone they're thankful that you're there. So thanks a lot for being on with us today.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Eccles, and thank you for all the work that you do, and Faith, thank you for tremendous work, and again, thank you for the privilege to serve and to be a part of this conversation today.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, we're going to wrap it up with Jim Sellers today. Jim, you guys down there are a MEAG city. I think maybe I'm sitting in Athens, Georgia right now. Athens gets their power from Georgia Power. They're not a MEAG city. What's the difference between? I mean, what is I guess an increased dynamic that happens when you're a city that sells electricity?
Well, years ago, the cities, the local utilities, they came together and formed MEAG in order to have some generation rights in order to provide the utility to their local residents and have a little more local control to it than as opposed to a corporation like Southern Power. And really, I think there's 49 participants now with MEAG, and we have generation rights to some of the generation units, same as Georgia Power, along with Oglethorpe and Dalton Power here in Georgia.
Yeah, so there's really a lot of cooperation. Like, for example, you guys all own Plant Vogtle together, right?
That's correct.
You're co-owners, and I think, Jim, that partnership, that collaboration is part of what's allowed the plant to continue, because really, virtually every single Georgia resident has a stake in this. I mean, Cobb EMC is not participating, but pretty much everybody else is participating, with exception of just a few folks, right?
That is correct. Oglethorpe Power, which is of course the local EMCs, and the MEAG and Georgia Power is a large stake in it, and it's my understanding it's the only nuclear power generation going on within the United States, and it's important as a future fuel and energy to have nuclear. It's a great baseline producer. Once it's up and running, it runs. It's reliable, and residentials, commercials, and industrials rely on being able to flip the switch and have the lights come on and have the equipment running.
Yeah, Jim, I mean, even President Biden's talking about the importance of new nuclear and keeping existing nukes going, because I think he said the U.S. can't reach the clean energy goal by 2050 without it. So it is important. Well, Jim, let me ask you about some of the clean energy stuff going on. You guys, like a lot of other cities, been making the transition to LED lights, and that really is the low-hanging fruit for moving to a cleaner, basically a clean energy economy at a city. You start with the lighting.
It is. We moved to replacing any security lights at residentials or commercials or industrials, and any street lighting with solely LED. And of course, it's just as advertised. It's cheaper to operate, to maintain, a little more expensive upfront costs, but you don't nearly have the instances of having truck rolls to repair and to fix. They're quality products, and of course they shine better than your traditional security light.
Yeah.
So we get callback calls often from customers saying how much they appreciate that light compared to the other.
We did our whole house that we just built in LEDs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It is brighter, 90% less energy usage. So it just makes sense. And you told me you've got 4 residents that have added solar to their homes in the city of Fitzgerald.
We haven't had a lot of solar panel penetration in Fitzgerald, but there is interest here. We get calls basically once every 3 or 4 months about someone who's looking into it, and of course we provide the usage and what they've done in the past, and they crunch the numbers and see if it makes sense for them. So we do currently have 4 customers that are on solar panels.
Well, Jim, I really appreciate you being on today, and all of our guests. We are every Thursday at 9:30. I have committees at the PSC and the vice chair, so I have to run those. So I will go to my day job here in just a second. Just want to thank you, Jim, for your leadership there and helping folks have electricity in Fitzgerald. Thank you.
Thank you for involving Fitzgerald in this project.
Yeah, and Chief, thank you for all that you're doing down there to keep folks safe.
Again, thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Faith.
And Jeff, appreciate your ministry and your servant heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Faith, for allowing us to be on here to highlight our community and what's happening here.
And Mayor, I've got to get down there and see a Burmese chicken. And I don't know. I don't know that I want to eat one, but maybe so at your restaurant. This big chicken sandwich. Do you do that grilled or fried?
Either way,
fried.
whatever you want. We'll take care of it. Yeah, but mostly it's got to be fried.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. And y'all got to come up with a sauce, a Fitzgerald sauce, right? That sounds pretty good.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Burmese. You could research and find out what spices they use in Burma. Whatever the name of what is Burma called now? Myanmar, maybe.
Myanmar.
Yeah. Okay. But maybe it has cayenne pepper. Maybe it has curry. I don't know. So. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for being on on Community Focus. Faith, where are we going next week?
So next week we'll be in Sugar Hill up in Gwinnett County. And then the week after that, we're going nearly to Florida. We're going extreme South Georgia with Thomasville. And then we'll be back up in your neck of the woods with Brazelton the week after that.
Okay. That sounds great. I'll be in the Brazelton 4th of July parade. So that's going to be getting awfully close to the parade appearance. All right, y'all, have a great day.
Thanks.